Folks, welcome into That Betting Show, March 15th, 2019, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. March Madness Conference Tournament action underway. He's Teddy Safransky at Teddy_covers on Twitter. I'm Donnie Seymour at Rightside VP. Let's get right into it. Zion back in a big way for Duke last night, Teddy. Watching the game, explosive as ever. Duke back into that national picture, looking to get on that one line. But we're gamblers there, Teddy. Some interesting stuff happened in that game, including a late three-pointer.
Sure, the three heard round the world with Frank Howard, and it wasn't at the buzzer. There was like 10 or 12 seconds left, but Duke was just going to dribble it out after Howard hit the three, cut the lead from 15 down to 12, which means it landed right in the middle. Now, if you didn't bet Duke early, because that line went from 11 up to 11.5, 12, fairly early in the day. If you didn't bet them early, maybe you got to push with the Blue Devils. If you bet them late, that Frank Howard three ripped your heart right out of your gut. In a game that Duke pretty well controlled start to finish.
Yeah, Teddy, I mean, taking a look at the game last night, I mean, Zion obviously going 13 for 13 from the floor, looked every bit as athletic, in shape, and ready to go. And the one question we had yesterday, Teddy, on That Betting Show was, what were we going to get to see out of Zion? I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams, even if you bet or not bet the game, turned it on, saying, you know what, maybe a little bit tentative, maybe a little bit apprehensive. Let's see if the knee's fully, ready to go. Boy, was he in shape last night, ready to go play darn near the entire game. So moving forward, looks like Zion's going to be full go throughout the tournament and then heading into March Madness.
Yeah, I mean, this is March Madness, but heading into the next round of March Madness next week, it certainly looks that way, although we'll have to see tonight. Obviously, a near perfect, well, I mean, when you hit every shot, it is a perfect performance. Last night, things will be tougher for Zion tonight on the second of back-to-backs coming off the injury against a North Carolina team that can battle him pretty tough in the low post.
Yeah, we'll see how he responds, see how that knee comes back, see if he gets that same workload tonight, because as you know, watching UNC, they're going to go up and down the court, a high over-under total, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, but should be a fun one to watch down in Charlotte. All around the NCAA on Thursday, Teddy, was fun from start to finish. Then again, depending on where your tickets were laying, I got a nice little bonus gift late in the evening, Teddy, a no-sweat winner on Marquette, -3.5 as they took place in the Garden. And a lot of these things, type of games, start to play out because you're looking at teams that are fresh, even though St. John's is used to playing in the Garden, playing 24 hours earlier than coming back against a formidable opponent who is always the higher seed. Looks like it's playing out that way in a couple of these games also.
Yeah, I mean, the books got absolutely smashed on some games yesterday. No question about it. Marquette was one of those games where nothing but Golden Eagles money and Marcus Howard took over. But the supporting cast for Marquette, I thought, played really well yesterday. We'll preview their game tonight. Later in the show, Kansas. Well, I thought Texas played bad more than Kansas played good. The Jayhawks had multiple opportunities to put that game away. Couldn't get it done. Finally, able to. That was a survive and advance game for the Jayhawks in that win over Texas. But certainly that a particularly bad game for many books here in Las Vegas. Lots of parlays and lots of public money were on the Jayhawks last night.
Yeah, Teddy, you take a look at Maryland last night. Coming into that game, a really short-handed Nebraska team. You think you would level the boom on them early. Nebraska pulls off yet another victory. But, in order to win that tournament, you're going to have to win 4 or 5 straight days in a row. We'll see if they can overcome the odds again with the Huskers. First look at Major League Baseball today. It's a great day here on the East Coast, Teddy, because we finally catch up to my Philadelphia Phillies, 80-82 in 2018. On the looks of it, you would say, boy, that's a good rebuilding year to have 80 wins, coming down the stretch. But the fact is the Phillies fell off the map in August and September. So they reloaded this year. Bryce Harper obviously comes to town. JT Realmuto comes to town. We'll see what we can get out of that new revamped lineup, which the problem last year really wasn't the pitching staff. It was getting any sort of competent hitting to put up 2, 3, or 4 runs. Phillies the bottom of the barrel last year, certainly amongst most categories in baseball and hitting. But it looks like they're going to get that underway. Some live arms, Aaron Nola, bona fide certified #1. But what are we going to get out of Jake Arrieta? Can he regain that form back to, not Cy Young ability, but maybe on that upper echelon level, and a couple really good pitchers that they have just needing to feel their way around Major League Baseball. Philadelphia Phillies, team total, as we take a look, 89 and a 10-1 ticket to win the 2019 World Series, Teddy.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of betting market love for Philadelphia, and understandably so. When you pick up Bryce Harper and Jean Segura and JT Realmuto in the offseason, you're supposed to score a whole bunch of runs the next year, and obviously committing an extraordinary amount of money with those 3 contracts. And you bring back Rhys Hoskins. Obviously, he had 34 dingers a year ago. I think the Phillies are going to score runs in bunches. All that being said, are they going to be able to get anyone out? I mean, Nola's an ace, all right? Arrieta was not an ace last year and was not good down the stretch. Talked about their struggles in August and September. Arrieta was a big part of that. You look at the back end of that rotation with Pivetta and Velasquez and Eflin. I don't see these guys getting a whole lot of outs game in, game out, especially pitching in a bandbox ballpark like Citizens Bank ballpark. My gut reaction on the Phillies going into the season, I want to bet this team over the total every game, day in, day out. Philadelphia looks to me like a squad that's going to score a whole bunch of runs and a squad that's going to give up a whole bunch of runs, which doesn't necessarily bode well for their postseason chances. I'm not one of these guys buying futures on the Phillies to win the World Series and all of that this year. I am, however, looking for Philadelphia games early in the season to be betting up and over the total, especially at home. I think they're going to be scoring 5-6 runs every game, and they're going to be giving up 5-6 runs every game, which is good news for overbettors.